Hey guys, it's Kate and hope you're having a great day. I have another unboxing and I've actually had this for a while. I got it on clearance someplace. I don't even remember where. And I got this because I really like the Derwent watercolor pencils that I had that were vintage. And this is the Inktense paint pan set. This is number 1. And I've got my little note next to me. So this one comes with 12 colors and they are sun yellow, mango, poppy red, dark plum, mid ultramarine, racing green, bright blue, teal green, kiwi, burnt yellow ochre, natural brown, and ink black. There's also a palette number 2, which has 12 different colors. From the picture, they look like it's a pretty similar range, although the other one has a white and this one does not. It looks a little bit brighter too, and they have a different set of colors. So I'm not sure if you were to get the 24 pan set, if it actually has both of these combined or how that works. This is the only one that I have, but one of the nice things about the Inktense series, I guess, because they come in pencils, and I think you can also get those like they look like pastel sticks, and they are permanent. They are supposed to work similar to watercolor, and when they dry, they set and they don't relift. So if you wanted like a permanent solution that looks like watercolor, this would be a great way to go. So I figured we could unbox this today and give it a try. I actually was thinking that since I have been kind of playing with junk journals lately, that this would be a great way to add some color to some elements in there, but then I wouldn't have to worry about, like, if I re-wet it sometime in the future, that I would reactivate watercolor, even though I really love the watercolor effect. So this is kind of a cute little travel palette. It's plastic. It's it snaps shut. It's got your little mixing wells in the top here and a nice little translucent piece of paper with the swatches and all of the color names. And then in here, oh, this is like perforated plastic, and it just sort of tears off. And then we have our paint pans. So this reminds me a lot of the Winsor & Newton Cotman color field set. It's kind of a similar feel, and the pans are kind of put together similarly. It comes with a water brush, which is kind of nice. I don't know that I will use this today. I'm going to just use my regular brush, but that is in here. You could probably also fit like a travel brush or something like that in there. And it's got a nice little blotting sponge. So if you wanted to use that, you could. So I'm going to get these activated. I've got a couple of sheets of my B watercolor cotton paper here. And I'm going to grab a smaller round brush and we can do some swatches. And then maybe do a little painting or something. Something I was reading also about Derwent is that you can like paint on fabric with this, and then it's just permanent, which is really cool, especially if you're going to have little, like if I wanted to make little fabric embellishments for my junk journals or anything really, you could do that. Okay, so this is the sun yellow. And these are really vibrant colors. I saw a couple of little videos and they are just really gorgeous. It's not, so if you have like the Kuretake paints and those types of things, they have kind of a glossy look. These are very flat. They're kind of almost like, they look very dry. They're maybe a little bit chalky, and that could be because it's permanent. This is also pigment based. I looked at their website. It's not dye based, but it is permanent. And apparently supposed to be pretty light fast, although of course I have not done any testing, but that's what I hear. But I love these colors. Okay, so this one was mango. That is poppy red, Now we're going to go into dark plum. Let me see if I can get how deep I can get it. Oh yeah, that's nice. That's a nice color. So you can put it on lightly. So this is mid ultramarine. Get a good little brush load on here. That's nice. All right, this one is bright blue and it's very dark in the pan, so this is probably pretty pigmented. That's pretty too. I love the blues, and then you can kind of mix and get, you know, turquoise and stuff. Actually, here's a teal green. This is going to be pretty. That's kind of like a viridian or something. That's nice. So yeah, something nice with this would be that it does dry permanent, and I don't know of any other watercolor type mediums that dries permanently. If you do, leave a comment below. But this would be a great option for getting a watercolor look, but without it reactivating. You can use it on projects where it's permanent. Okay, so this was Racing Green, Kiwi. Next up, we have Burnt Yellow Ochre, which I love my yellow ochres, and this one looks like a nice one. That's pretty too. I don't know how opaque these get, but if you put it on dark, it probably does get pretty opaque. I had some, a drop of water there, I guess, so it kind of flowed into it a little bit. That is natural brown, and then this one is the ink black, and that is very black when you first put it down. So these are some great little swatches. Let me see a couple of little tests on how it drops into wet paint, or a wet paper, I should say. All right. I don't know if it'll travel the same way as watercolor. So I dipped into the poppy red, so you can see that kind of spread there. Let's try the yellow ochre. So they do, you know, kind of spread out a bit. This one seems heavier than the yellow ochre, but it could also be my application. I can't really be scientific here because it's just me and a paintbrush. But let's see what else we get. I'm just kind of dipping in some random pans, but I love the richness of the colors here. Let me get some water down up here and do a few more colors. All right, let's do the ink black, and then the bright blue. The ink black really travels. Okay, what did I... Okay, let's do the mango. And then I think I did do... Oh, that's the green, but that looks a little bit yellow since it's spread out. This is the sun yellow. And let me grab the natural brown. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Which one did I miss? Dark plum. These dry fairly quick in the palette too. Okay, that's not wet. There's the plum. All right, I'm going to set this aside and then grab another paper to do a little painting. All right, I am back. I've got a fresh sheet of watercolor paper taped down onto my lovely little clipboard. Totally handy. You can tilt it, do whatever you want. I have like 4 of these and I can do watercolor, set it aside, grab another one. So it's kind of nice. I grabbed my 1/2 inch flat brush. I think what I want to do for this one is kind of a fun little sort of whimsical landscape. We'll just kind of see what happens, but I definitely want to do some glazing so we can really kind of take advantage of the permanence of this. Now you can still glaze with regular watercolor, it's fine, but this should not activate the lower layers at all. So I'm going to just kind of pick some fun colors here and do some layers down at the bottom, and I'll also do some little sky layers at the top. Now I've got my dried swatch sheet next to me to my left so that I can kind of pick the right colors, but I'm going to make just kind of a fun little painting. Maybe we can even doodle on it. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So I'm going to have like some maybe fields and hills down here, but I'm going to do kind of some fun little shapes. So I am going to dip into this racing green and put some out into my tray and mix in a little bit of water to lighten it up. And I am going to make some stripy shapes down here. I'm going to leave a little bit of white space and just keep going. I'm going to kind of vary my shapes a little bit, just like this. And we can add, you know, some extra levels. And I think this is going to be kind of a neat little painting. So I'm going to have this one kind of end right there. So we've got kind of our lower level of our grasses or whatever it is we're doing. All right, I'm going to grab some more of this racing green and put it in here. And I'm also going to grab a little bit of this dark plum and kind of mix that together. It's going to make a bit of kind of a grayish color, maybe with a little bit of purple, but it's really pretty. So I'm going to kind of start going in to the background. I might add just a little bit more green to this and kind of just cool it down. So I am going to come in here and do maybe a little hill, just like that. And I'm just going to have it kind of come to the end here and make it pretty flat. Flat color, not flat hill. And then I'm going to have another one kind of come down just like this. Then I'm going to add a little bit more of that purple. And maybe we can have, let's see, a little hill coming up this way. Just like that. And maybe one more coming out from the side. And I love how this color goes down. That's pretty. Okay. I'm still, well, my line's broken. Darn it. I thought it would be drier. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing up top. I'm going to grab this mid ultramarine. That's kind of a nice sort of lighter blue. And I'm going to just grab a little bit more pigment. And I'm going to come in here and do some sort of cloud shapes like this. Some just simple cloud shapes. Very whimsical. then very watery. So once we get this first layer dry, we'll have something nice to add some glazes to. I think that looks pretty good. All right, I'll be back in a minute when this is dry. All right, we are all dry and I am ready for the next layer. So for this one, I'm going to grab some more of that racing green, and I'm going to grab a little bit of this sun yellow to make a bit of a brighter green. And I'm actually going to rinse my brush a little and take some of this up. Don't want to ruin the brand new palette. Come on. All right, I'm going to add some more racing green again. I think that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to go kind of between these. Same idea, but we're going to glaze. So I'm going to leave some white space here also. That way we have some nice variation in color. I don't know why I'm rinsing my brush. I don't have to. I'm using the same color, but I guess that's where we are. Okay. So let me grab a little more water. Okay, let's do another. And then maybe come up into these purple areas. I might add a little more color to this bottom. Just like that. I'm going over the same brush strokes as before, but I want to deepen it just a little bit. I kind of like having that slightly darker glaze. And then I'll also use up the rest of my paint here. All right. Now I can do that green and a little bit of this dark plum again. And I am going to do another layer here. And another layer up here. And I might even bring that plum down into the bottom just a little bit. Just like that. So we start getting a little bit of overlap with our colors. I love these colors. They're really pretty. All right, now I'm gonna do some of this and then another layer here. And then a couple of little ribbons of that same purplish color toward the front. Now I want to deepen up that bottom again. I'm going to go back into the racing green, strengthen this a bit, and start coming in with a little bit of darkness down here. I love how this looks. Okay, let's start letting that dry a bit. I'm going to go back into my sky. So I'm going to grab that mid ultramarine and I'm going to add some of this bright blue. I really love the shade on this. I think that's very pretty. So I'm going to do some more sort of cloud shapes over this to overlap. And go, I don't know, a few different little areas. And I just love these layers. Glazing is just so much fun to do. It really, really is. Okay. Let me see here. And maybe I'll add just a little bit here. Darken this up just a little bit. All right. Okay, my paper is dry again. I left a bit of a white space here, and the reason why is because I want to put in a little bit of a sun. So I'm going to do wet and wet on this, and what I'm going to do is just drop in a little bit of yellow with my round brush to the center of my wet spot and let that kind of flow out into the rest. And I might help it along just a little bit. I don't want to get a lot of green with having the yellow kind of over the blue. So I'm just going to kind of keep it simple like that. But what I am going to do is bring in a little bit of that warmth to the bottom. So I'm going to make a pretty watery yellow. And I'm just going to add a little bit in here. That might actually be a little too watery, but I can see a little bit of yellow here. And it's just going to kind of warm this up a bit, where the sun might be hitting the bottom. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, now that we are dry, and this is pretty much all I want to do on the landscape, now I'm going to test on how pigmented we can get these colors. So I'm going to do just kind of a fun little tree up front here, and I'm going to go back into that racing green, but instead of watering it down, I am going to keep it full strength. So I'm going to have a little tree kind of coming up right down here, and I am going to start off by putting in some dark circles in different sizes. And I'm going to kind of glaze with these two, but look at that dark color. That's really nice. So I'm doing some round shapes. I'm going to turn this into kind of a fun little tree shape and then put a trunk on it and maybe some branches. Let me add a little bit more water. These pans do dry pretty quickly. I've been going through this, and it does dry fast. So just making sure I get enough pigment to get it to completely cover the bottom layer. All right, I think that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to go into my brown. This is that natural brown. Get this activated, and I'm going to make kind of a little trunk. Let me get some more. I want to make sure to make it nice and solid. Just like that. That looks good to me. All right. I'm going to put my finishing touch on when this dries, and then we will be done. All right, we've got the tape off. We're dry. I'm going to do just one more thing, and that is go into, I think I'm going to use this kiwi color because that seems kind of fun. And I am going to put in a background on this tree. And it's going to be a nice kind of fun color. I'm going around these circles that I put in. So we'll have kind of a tree shape. Now this is a lighter color, so it's not going to be as opaque, although, you know, it kind of is covering a little bit. So I'm just going around these things, these circles, and this is going to give us the rest of our tree. And you know what? I've got it everywhere now, but I think maybe to test, let's just go over the whole thing. So I was wondering how much permanent that actually would have, because I put a pretty thick layer of paint. So this is a good test, because I was thinking, you know, you have it in your palette and you can reactivate it after it's dry in there. What about on the paper if you have a really thick layer of paint? And so that is happening. So I've got thick paint on my paper with those dark green circles. But while that part is activating a little bit and mixing, I still have my solid shapes of that dark green. I'm just wiping a little bit of this back so it's kind of even. And then I think I'm going to leave that as is to dry. So this is our finished painting. So you may have, if you have very thick paint, you may have some reactivation. I don't think that would happen out here. And I can actually test that. Yeah, this is not moving. It's just getting wet. So just keep that in mind if you have very thick paint. The top could move almost like you're reactivating your palette because you have paint that hasn't soaked into the paper. It's just sitting on the surface. But here are our two sheets that we did. So this is our painting. I'll do a quick close-up of that, which I think this turned out really cute. It's just very simple. It's a lot of glazing, which just looks awesome, I think. And then here are our swatches. And then you can see where the paint kind of flowed out to in the wet and wet. So if you're looking for some permanent-ish watercolor, give these Derwent Inktense paints a try. They are very pigmented, nice bright colors. I really like the watercolor pencils from that brand that I had a while back. And I think this is a good buy to kind of add to my palettes, and I can do some different types of projects with this. So anyway, hope you found this video helpful, and I will put a link to this below if you're interested in ordering it online. But thanks again for watching, and until next time, keep creating. Bye.